And as
friends, I
definitely have friends, friendly friends, time to meet my friends. I'm Patty. Paula.
Oh. It's from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
I was like, what is happening?
Again. Crazy. Crazy cupcakes.
Crazy cupcakes. What intention would you like to set for today? For this episode?
I would like to set the intention of togetherness,
Cute.
connection,
Camaraderie?
camaraderie.
It's all C's.
Togetherness.
Oh.
I take that word back. I'd like connection, camaraderie, and connectivity.
Ooh, connectivity.
I was going to say
Community.
collective. The collective.
What would your intention be for this episode?
My intention?
Yeah.
For my meds to kick in. They're getting there.
That's good.
I took them a while ago, so they'll kick in about
Eventually.
20 minutes.
Love that.
I like your 3 C's. I agree.
The 3 C's.
The 3 C's.
I'm
We
into
love
it.
an alliteration,
Mm-hmm.
don't we?
Don't we, though?
If you haven't gathered that by now.
We love 3s and we love an alliteration.
It was a thing at my last agency that Bailey loved an alliteration. Like every single idea I would come, not every single, but a lot of the ideas I would come to the table with were alliterations. A lot of the meta projects, the meta team would be like, oh, did Bailey have a hand in this presentation? I'm like, not
What
did.
gave it away?
Compliance coins. I worked on some boring stuff with meta, but it was fun.
Yeah.
But the alliteration also helps it stick.
Yep.
Yeah, memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome back. We've only been away from each other for a week.
Yeah.
I know.
This is rare for us.
This is the quickest we'll have ever recorded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and boy, how much has happened in just a week.
Boy, howdy.
Could you imagine if we waited 2?
No, I could not. We hope your 2024s are going well still. Mine isn't. It's fine. Let's kick it off, though, with Happies and Crappies and Find the Positive. Miss Halsey Carlin.
So start with some negative.
I wrote them down.
Thank you.
Look at me. Doing
Look
my
at you.
homework.
Homework.
My crappy. I don't have one.
Wow. Nothing?
She had to make room for mine.
Yeah, I don't have one. It was a really good week.
Good.
So
We love to see it.
blushing already. My happies. My friend Anna, who's one of my childhood best friends, was in town
Yeah.
for the holidays, and we got to spend New Year's Eve together. And she came over, and we watched Trolls, and
Never seen that movie.
Me neither.
love it.
You and Mom are like obsessed with that movie, right?
Only the first one.
Oh,
The
you don't
other
like
ones
the new
are
one?
not. No,
How many are there?
there's 3 now,
There's 3.
and a show, and then like a short.
The trolls are busy.
The Trolls are busy.
Evidently.
No, I don't care for like any of the spin-off stuff. I
Yeah.
only like the first movie.
Yeah.
Because it's great.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Anyways. We watched that and ate good food,
Fun.
and she always brings me baked goods. She's a listener of the podcast. Big fan.
I know she follows us on TikTok, and that
Yes.
girl is on it with the engagement.
Yeah, she
I'm
is.
like, get it, Anna, get it.
Well, and she just like genuinely really enjoys the podcast, which is so fun.
That's
and
nice.
so we were like talking about it, and it's always fun to have her in town. So
Yeah.
because she moved
Where is she living now?
North Dakota. She
I bet
moved there.
North Dakota.
She moved there for college when we graduated high
Right.
school
Yeah.
10 years ago. And just has stayed, and she's got a great job now. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
but yeah,
That happens,
so she's
you
just
know?
doing good.
Happy, healthy, and thriving.
Most of those things. She's always got a health thing going on, you know.
Aw, yeah.
We love her.
I know.
Something's always internally falling apart,
Same,
but-
same.
Mm-hmm.
but we love that for her.
That she's falling apart.
But she keeps it together.
Yeah.
And then I went on a date.
Yeah, a couple.
I went on a second date.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm gonna say.
I think
You're welcome.
that's that's wise.
Yep.
Because it's burgeoning.
Yeah, that's it for that. And then
It's so tiny.
I know it's so little.
Wait, which Kindle is that?
It's the same one you guys have. Unless
It
you
is
have the
not.
paperweight.
I have the paperweight.
It's the same one Kelly has.
I think I have
Nope,
the
she has the paperweight too.
Oh, then I just have
Can I
the
hold
standard
yours?
Kindle.
Standard. Oh my god, so cute. Oh, it's a miniature. Oh my god.
I didn't realize it was so much smaller.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
When you called me to tell me how cute and tiny it is, I was like, it's like the size of a book.
Nope.
Nope, it is not.
It is not. She's tiny.
How adorable.
But she's perfect.
Fun.
Hold, please.
Yeah. What do you read? Oh, and you're reading the Darker Shade of Magic series?
Well, not yet. I'm finishing a different book first.
Oh, okay. Your smut book?
Yeah.
She was like, yeah.
Yeah. But she's so cute.
Yeah.
I love her.
Welcome to the fam.
Yeah.
Love it.
Love it. Love to see it. Love books. Yeah, I don't have a crappy.
Great.
If I had anything, it would just be that, like, work has been busy, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hutch's, we changed some things around in this.
Oh, we're going to have a little Hutch booty.
Hutch booty. That's it. That's all you get. Just
I
a
love
butt.
it.
Look at how soft
I know.
he's laying.
He's just a soft boy.
One of these days we're gonna get puppy cams so you guys can see what's
Yeah.
happening
Yeah.
around us because there's always a puppy being cute.
And he's
Yeah.
just the best.
Jansen calls him Honey Bun now because that's kind of what he looks like.
He just looks
Especially
like
when
a
he's
honey
curled
bun.
up.
Yeah.
Ugh, adorable. Well, thanks for your happies and not your crappies.
You're welcome.
Bravo. Brava.
You know, one of us had to have a good week.
Mrs.
And it
Carlin.
wasn't us.
Mrs. Carlin, Mrs. Gabbert.
Yes. So my crappy is the same crappy that I had in our episode 14.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
14. Yeah.
Yeah.
My eyes.
Oh, man.
Mm.
But it got worse. I feel like when we recorded the last episode, it was manageable.
Mhm.
And then 2 days later, I woke up and it was bright red.
We all made the same face.
Such
Hutch.
bright red and painful, super
Oh.
painful, and didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So you guys were leaving because
Yeah.
Bailey was staying with James and Bailey were staying with us, and I made a doctor's appointment. We leave to go, and I asked Jansen to take me because I wasn't sure if they would have to dilate my eyes. So I was like,
Yeah.
just please drive me. Also, it
That
was
is
going to
the-
be an evening appointment, and driving at night right now is really hard.
Driving at night with dilated eyes, not a good mixture. Also, that is also the weirdest experience.
Yeah.
Getting your eyes dilated. I've only had it like once
I've
or
never
twice.
had it.
Oh my gosh, it's so strange.
I have some drops. Would you like to try it?
Absolutely not.
No, I'm just joking. But yeah, so I asked him to drive me, and we go into the garage. The place is about 30 minutes away. We go, and our car battery is dead. I was like, cool.
Love it.
Jansen's like, I'll figure this out. We only have we're one car family these days. So he's like, I'll figure this out. You get an Uber, go to your appointment.
Yeah.
Pull up Uber. It's $50 one way.
Absolutely
And I was
not.
just like,
Nope.
Is this worth it?
Nope.
So I called the I called the office, and I was like, do I get a penalty if I cancel last minute? I just made the appointment this morning, but I can't get to you.
Right.
Like the first one, you'll have just a warning, and then the
Okay.
next one we would charge you. And I was like, that's fine. Can I come tomorrow?
Yeah.
And they were able to get me in the next morning. So I was thankful for that. Thankful that I could change it, and then thankful that we got a new car battery.
Yay.
Cut to Friday, the day I go to my appointment. It's fine. I get a prescription. We come home. I drop it off. And then they're like, okay, it'll be ready around 5. Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Mhm.
I go to Walgreens around 5 p.m., a little after. And they're like, did you just come from urgent care?
No.
Nope. I dropped this off at 1 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't think it was ever scanned into the system. Okay, cool. Well,
Oh.
I hate pharmacies.
yeah.
I hate everything medical related right now, man.
Honestly. So they're like, okay, let us scan this in and find it. Oh, actually, we don't have this in stock, so you're going to have to go to a different pharmacy.
Oh my God.
It's 5:30, almost 6 p.m. at this point. I'm like,
Awesome.
I need these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. oh, actually, we found some if you're good with the generic version. So I was like, I don't care what version it is.
Yeah.
Just give me the dang eye drops.
There's no difference.
Right? Okay, can I have your insurance card? Okay, cool. I've done all this before when I handed off the prescription in the first place, but yes, here's my insurance card. Do you have an updated card? It's not coming up with anything in this system. Every piece of this. I was like, my insurance has not changed for the past 5 years. I've been on the same plan with the same company.
Also, have you been to that pharmacy before?
Yes.
What the heck? I can't.
So I was just like, nothing has changed. Because my card is outdated. It's the last card I've been given, because it had a 2022 date, not a 2023 date. They were like, this isn't going to work.
Sus.
I was like, but then she's like, oh, if you add an 01 at the end of it, it fixes it. It's like, no card. And Jansen's pulling up his app on the phone to see like the most recent
the
card.
digital one.
No version of the card has an 01 on it anywhere. And we just got new cards in the mail too. And again, they don't have the 01 at the end. So what this lady was talking about, I don't know. I was so frustrated. I was like,
was it the same lady that said the generic version was available? Like, maybe this woman just needs a different job.
Not good at her job. So that was my crappy.
But your eyes are progressing positively. Yes?
Yes,
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
I was on a very heavy, intense regimen with steroid, and I'm just slowly waning off. But they're not sensitive to light anymore.
Thank
but
God.
As I do more drops throughout the day, my vision does get blurrier. So I'm good for now. I can kind of see right now. But
oh gosh,
towards the rest of the day, I'll just be like bringing my laptop closer and closer.
God,
so sad.
We'll get you one of those magnifiers.
Yeah. So that was my crappy. And then my happies were on the eye similar.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a new doctor this time and I really liked her. And I feel like she explained what it was more thoroughly than the last doctor did and told me like what I need to do to see a general, like a GP, and explained to me what I would need to tell them.
Good.
Because I'm that type of person that like I just get anxious about
totally
social things. And so she's like, this is what you'll tell them. They'll be able to run these tests for you. And if they need your records, they can contact me. Here's my card.
That's so nice.
And if your tests all come back clean, like we'll work on figuring out what this is. And like we'll figure it out together. And I was like, thank you for taking the time to act like you actually cared.
Yeah.
Do your job.
I was like, what a wild concept. There's something to be said for a millennial doctor versus an older doctor of just like, okay, I want to give you the kind of care that I would want.
Totally.
So I have 2 more crappies.
Nope. Happies.
I mean, happies. I was very happy about my crappies. I have 2 more happies. And the second one being that I'm greatly enjoying our January organization time.
Yes.
And throwing things away. So excited to get back to that a little bit later this weekend.
Yeah, I'm actually glad you brought it up because it was a sub bullet for Happies and Crappies. I wanted to check in about the January calendar because we haven't talked about it on the show.
Yeah.
But Kelly designed this incredible organizational planning calendar that's on our social medias. It's pinned to the top. And each day is a really simplistic task to help you reorganize your home. Each week is kind of broken up into sections of the house.
Yeah.
Some weeks are 2 sections, depending on how much work we have left. But the really nice part is she baked in a mid-month check-in so that you can take a break or get caught up if you have not been doing it each day, like me. I'll go home on Monday and I'll probably do the rest of the kitchen and get ahead again. But it's so helpful and I love it. And we'd love it if people could share and save it so that it makes its way around the internets.
And each day isn't a huge
burden
chunk. So even if you do get behind, it's easy to like do a couple a day or use the midway check-in or extend it into February, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's spring cleaning, so you can technically just do it all spring. It's not even really spring yet. It's still winter. We're ahead of the game,
organization.
y'all.
But yeah, I'm in.
It's
my happy place. So
Same.
yeah.
I loved it. The day one was just the kitchen, just not even the kitchen. It was just the fridge and the freezer. And I felt so accomplished that I did just that.
Throughout the year also, I'll bring everything out of like at least the refrigerator and check expiration dates, kind of see what's going to come up within that month that I need to go through, and keep that in mind when I'm like meal planning and stuff too.
Exactly. Thanks for making that.
Yeah.
So cute.
Yeah.
Design queen.
Love it. And then on the organization side of things, my other happy was that Jansen helped me reorganize my desk and cable management, which is his happy place. And it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. And we
Looks
rearranged
great.
the studio a little bit so it's a little more cozy and comfy. And everybody's in more comfortable seating. It feels good.
Yeah.
Except for my widow wigs.
Well, you can like curl up onto the couch.
I know. No, I'm comfortable. I just think
good.
it's funny that
I realized the other day that when I'm sitting in this, my feet also don't touch
don't
the
touch
ground.
the ground.
You guys are cute.
I got a long torso and widow wigs.
Teeny tiny peoples.
Mm-hmm.
That's it from me.
It's
I
your
like it.
happies and your crappies, dudes.
What
Your
about
turn.
you?
Okay.
Crappies first.
Well,
End on a high note.
several. Thank you.
Okay.
Let's prepare. First of all, I have a sty. Again. In this eye.
I don't think I've ever
The
heard
eye
of them.
troubles
In
on
this
the podcast.
It's insane.
You're next.
Get ready.
Not my eyes.
Please no.
My
My
eyes.
Not my eyes. Not the gumdrop buttons.
Not the gumdrop.
Yeah, I was telling Kelly this last night. I've had 2 styes now in the last year-ish.
Stress.
And I've never had them in my entire life. I also don't. Is it stress? Is that why you have them? No, well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because here are my crappies. It was really disappointing listening to the last episode while I was editing it because all of my happies are now very much crappies.
Oh.
The first blow in the last week was that because I live in the state of California and because I live in America, my therapy costs a disgusting amount of money, but now I have to go to psychiatry appointments paired with the therapy appointments, and the psychiatry appointments cost more than the therapy appointments, and insurance doesn't cover them at all. And I have to go for every therapy appointment. I have to go to a psychiatry appointment because they have to manage my meds. My med being one antidepressant that I've been on for upwards of 5 years. Don't know why I need that med managed, but here we are. So I found that out and had a complete breakdown because I found a therapist that I liked, and my barrier to entry is money. And that just makes me so angry.
Yeah.
Because it's not something that I can just pull out of my butt. If I could, I would.
Not yet.
Not yet. Money grows on butts?
Somewhere.
No.
Not yet.
So that happened on a Friday, I think, last Friday. And James and I had a talk about it, and he was like, well, we'll just put it on the credit card. Doesn't matter. I'm like, but then every month we'll be behind because we'll be spending over $1,000 in therapy costs and then our other expenses. And then we'll be at a deficit every single month. Like, that doesn't make any sense not just for therapy, but for therapy.
Yeah.
Something that is not a necessity. I've had therapy in the past. It's not like I'm desperately needing to talk to someone, but the disappointment of finding Casera and then just having her ripped away from me.
Yeah.
She sent me a really nice email just commiserating and saying that she was sorry that this was happening, but that she has hope that we get to come back together.
Yeah.
Another
Sorry,
time.
babe.
Then, sorry.
You don't need to be sorry.
Like, the next day, I got a message from Washington Unemployment that my unemployment has run out about 4 months earlier than I expected. So that's fun. The bummer part is that I made a really healthy income. So my unemployment was paying me like $900 a week, which was beautiful. And that's a almost $2,800 a month budget that's now going to be gone in the next couple of weeks. And what's hard about it, like, there's so much that's hard about it. Sorry.
You don't need to apologize.
No, not at all.
There's so much wrapped up in job failure and disappointment and just trying not to compare myself with my father because I'm not him, but job loss, as we've talked about on the podcast, is just something that's been a negative red thread through our lives and our family lives. So when it happens, this is the second time that it's happened to me in my career. And it's so hard to not take it so personally. Yeah. But it's also so hard to just be in this position again where I just feel like a failure.
No one thinks that you are, though.
I know. Yeah. Just my demons do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it's hard to like come into this room with people that I love and respect and that I'm trying to build something with and just be like, I don't know what the future holds and I don't have a plan.
Yeah.
And the plan that I have is just loosey-goosey and kind of forming as we go, but to not have that cash coming in to help build the plan, it's hard. It just makes me feel, I don't know, useless, I guess. I'm in this headspace this week where I just desperately need a win or like a sign that I'm doing like this is all not for naught, you know, and the beauty and irony of one, that the universe didn't do both of these blows in the same day. Hilarious. Like, thanks. Appreciate ya.
Yeah, a little breather.
But that I first had to get through the disappointment of therapy. Cool. Okay. Not going to be paying for that. Got it. Then the irony of like, good, because you don't have the money to do it anyway. Glad you got over that fast. It's just a lot. Yeah. And all of it is, not all of it, but a lot of it's just out of my control. I think the sadness piece is because I'm married now and I can't help but feel the most angry negative feelings in the brain are that I swindled James into marrying me and then everything fell apart. And then now he's got this wife that is a completely different person than the person that he went into the marriage with. And of course he doesn't feel that way.
No, not at all.
But it's so hard to not feel like I'm disappointing him.
Yeah.
And like messing up the plan.
But also the beauty in it of you have someone to walk alongside you with it and be there to help pick up the slack if it needs to be. And
totally, it's
just a season, and to encourage you and be there to help game plan with you and say, okay, let's figure this out together. Like, you're not in this alone.
Exactly. And that's why he's my happy, because just the support that he's given me and the things that he's said over the last week have just been stunningly wonderful and assuring me that like this is all just a moment, a blip, you know, like this is not forever. And I know that deep down. It's just hard to feel like I know it's happening because I have to want this so much more than all the hard stuff that's happening. And I have to push through. Like, that's why it's going on.
And in the thick of it, it's hard to think, okay, what is this going to look like after?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Honestly, who knows? But it's going to look different.
It will.
Yep.
So,
yeah, he's been wonderful in that he's just enveloped me in this mode of he's got us and we'll figure it out. And he wants me to keep pursuing this and finding my happy and not just taking the next job, which what jobs? The job market is a mess. It's an absolute mess.
Yeah.
Because what's hilarious is for unemployment in California, I think in all states, or sorry, in Washington, You have to apply to 3 jobs a week to be
Mhm.
able to get the unemployment. So I've been applying to 3 to 4 jobs a week since I got laid off.
Mhm.
I have not had one company email me back.
Yeah.
Not one. And on LinkedIn, you can see how many people have applied to a job. We're
Mhm.
talking upwards of 5,000
Yep.
applicants for jobs right now.
Yeah.
There's no way my resume is getting seen by any of these people. Not that I would even want to be seen by these people, because I don't want to do this job anymore.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm trying, and I'm putting myself out there. And the last time I got laid off, I had an interview the next day.
Really?
Yes. The market right now, it's a joke. And
Yeah.
I don't know why no one's talking about it. Everyone's talking about it on TikTok because we're all in this together.
Yeah.
But no one on the news, everyone on the news is like, the job market's fantastic. We have low unemployment. I'm like, well, who are you talking to? Because that is not the reality out here. The tech community is obliterated right now.
Yeah. Well, even when I was applying for jobs, I was applying like all these companies are complaining of like nobody wants to work, nobody's applying, nobody, we're all understaffed.
No
blah,
one
blah,
wants
blah.
to work.
Yeah.
Please.
No one wants to
When
hire.
exactly when I was applying for jobs when I was trying to leave the hotel,
Yeah.
I was filling out no less than 20 applications a day.
Yeah.
At like minimum 20 a day.
Insane.
And then calling at least 4
Right.
or 5 a day. The only reason I got the job that I have now is because I like hounded for it. Like
because you didn't know
sought for
anybody
it.
in the company, right?
No.
That's
I had
incredible.
no connections. But also like it's a pretty entry level job, but
sure.
I mean
still.
it's a little above entry level, but anyways, it's
You got it on your own merit.
yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All the jobs that I've gotten, except for the last one,
Mhm.
I knew someone in the room. I knew
Yeah.
someone to get me in the door, or somebody knew someone to vouch for me. The only reason I got my last job was because I was headhunted. But other than that, I don't know how to look for a job anymore because that is the longest that I'd been in a company. I was there for over 4 years. So the whole industry has changed, and for the worse, which is why I wanted to get out of this industry to begin with.
Yeah.
Because it is not built to last.
No.
It
Absolutely
ain't
not.
for tough.
No.
So that's where I'm at. Thanks for listening.
You got a happy in there other than James?
Rob, that's my other happy.
Aw.
Our trip with Rob was wonderful. He's just grown up so much.
He was so fun to have.
He was so
on
fun
Christmas
to be
Day.
around and hang out. I loved watching him with Jansen. It was just so fun to see them connect and have so much in common.
Yeah,
and have
he was
stuff to
so
talk
excited
about.
to like show Jansen a new game. And
Dude. And then
loved it.
we had a couple days with him in California too, so he could, be in our world and also see Heidi. That was very important because that's Heidi's boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she knows, like, she knows his smell and knows him. She was like so excited that Robbie was home, but he just said the sweetest things about being invited into this family and being a part of it and having this part of his life include us, and that he's just so settled and happy knowing that James and I are settled and happy, and it was just lovely. He's a great dude.
He's such a good kid.
Love you, mans.
Yeah.
So yeah, my boys. Those are my happies.
Those are good happies.
Other happies. Book Clurb. So we switched it up for Book Clurb, and we all ended up reading the same book, which was The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Snakes and Songbirds? Songbirds and Snakes.
Songbirds and Snakes.
We'll get it right eventually. Halsey has her book report that she just ripped. ASMR. So I wanted, because we all read the same book, I wanted to formalize the conversation and treat this like an actual book club.
Yeah.
So I came with questions, and the ladies answered those questions. And we're going to talk about it. And then tonight we're going to watch the movie all together.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
I'm not excited because now that I have finished this book,
I
I'm
know.
absolutely petrified of looking at this.
Yeah.
Also, So it's only PG-13.
How?
How?
I don't know.
Literally how?
But like
I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure.
That's crazy.
Because there's some violence up in this.
So much violence. Massive death.
If you haven't read the book, I'm so sorry. There are going to be spoilers because I can't not talk about some of this stuff.
For sure.
we tried to say no spoilers. No, there's going to be so many spoilers.
There'll
if you
be
haven't read this
spoilers.
book, we'll put a timestamp in the description.
I think I would like that moving forward with our book club, choosing books that maybe have been out for a little bit longer.
Yeah, this has been out for 3 years.
And
4
the
years.
movie's been
Came out in
since
May of
November.
2020.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that.
Oh, so that's one of my points. I'm really excited to talk about that bit.
Okay, great. Do you guys want me to go question by question, or okay, cool. Halsey, yes.
I'm pumped.
Okay, love it. Okay, so I came up, and by me I mean me and ChatGPT, came up with some questions to ask ourselves. Mentors in the Hunger Games have always been pivotal.
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 I'm rubbing off on you.
Oh, yeah, you are. Getting Kelly brain. How does learning about their early roles shift our view of the tributes' lifelines in the original trilogy, which Halsey started rewatching it too, the other ones, the old ones?
I was supposed to.
Oh yeah, she got sick. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. James and I rewatched because he's never seen them because he was...
But I did watch them like last year.
Oh, okay.
I had a...
I've also rewatched them recently.
Perfect.
Yes,
Okay, great.
I had a
Hunger Games night.
Hunger Games night, basically just by myself. Hunger Games weekend, we should say. And watched all of them.
Yeah, James has never seen them. There's this funny aspect to James in that when he was in his 20s, when most people are just doing their own thing, he was a full-fledged father.
Yeah, I was about to say that. He was a dad.
And he was working 80 hour work weeks. So he just has no concept of
media of that time.
Yep, absolutely. So he had never even seen previews of the Hunger Games, had no concept of what they were. And it was so fun watching them with him.
Because that would have been that era of like 2008 to 2014 where like all of that was happening, like Twilight, the end of Harry Potter,
oh my god,
the Hunger Games, all of those things were happening all within like
time.
2008 to 2013ish.
And he was playing Madden,
and having a child.
Okay,
a child.
How do you want to answer these questions? How does learning about their early roles shift our views of the tributes' lifelines in the original trilogy? Question and answer. Start us off.
Okay. Sorry,
she's ready.
So
she's excited.
So I thought it was so interesting how like Snow and his fellow mentors for the 10th games really shaped the beginnings of what the games would become. And from the commuter cuffs to donations, the extra torture of like the snakes being thrown in, him sending the rat poison in, all those things.
That
like
the arena would be part of
that
there
would
be another player.
Basically, yes. The arena becomes another one of the tributes.
Totally.
The messages to the tributes, because that becomes a huge thing in the original in the Hunger Games series with Katniss, of them the mentors purposely and being allowed to send tools, messages, all these things, not just food and water. And so it was so interesting that like this group, like the first time they've had these mentors, being the students, and the students being like, they need other things,
right?
Like they
need other things, but they need other things in order to create more interest in watching them.
Yes.
Like these sets of the youth of these mentors, they were more baked into this thought process of reality TV and watchableness and making it more interesting for the districts to tune in. He already knew that he needed to make it that much more intense and interesting.
I think too, he saw and used it to his advantage of the tributes needed someone to bond with. And then moving forward, how the mentors are our previous winners. They have the trauma bond. And I think some of the bond that he had with Lucy Gray, because he had to go into the arena. Right. So they had that bond, even though they had kind of started forming a friendship before the game actually started. But he saw like the hope, I think, that having someone who's won this be the one to talk you through how to strategize it. It's like, okay, you're going to give me hope that I can actually do this.
Right.
Especially because he goes in and not only has to kill someone,
Right.
and has to fight for his life.
Right.
And so, yeah, like you said, like that instant trauma bond of like, oh, this is very real. And she's having to fight for her life. So let me find a way to send her something that gives her half a chance.
Maybe this is the revolutionary in me, but it
Mhm.
made me so angry that he did go through all those things and his reaction wasn't, this is messed up. Maybe we shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
Instead, his reaction was very militaristic, propaganda to the max,
Yes.
making, like, connecting himself with, oh, what was the game maker's name?
Dr.
Doctor something.
Ghoul.
Gale? Gal?
No.
I don't remember.
G-A-H-L.
I don't know. I listened to
Gaul.
the book.
Yes. Oh.
I listened, so I don't remember.
I
didn't
pronounced it
see how
Ghoul
it
in my head, but I think it's Gaul.
Yeah. Just instead of
She
seeing
was
her
bonkers.
instead of seeing her as bonkers,
Which
he
he does
kind
at
of-
first.
but not really. He respects her almost
Yeah.
the entire book based on his actions.
I think out
Yes.
of terror, though.
Yeah.
True.
At the end, in the final chapter, it becomes a not an adoration, but it becomes that like, I can use her as a tool. She is another
Totally.
step up. She is another
Yes.
tool for me to gain
Right.
power, all of these things.
Right.
Whereas in the beginning, it's she's a tool to keep me alive and she's a meal ticket,
Right.
which
But
is how he sees everyone.
Totally. He also didn't see that she was the one pulling all the
Yes,
strings
absolutely.
up until the end.
Yeah.
Once he realized that, that's why what's Dean
Oh,
High bottom.
Deem High
High
Bottom.
Bottom, worst name.
High is a kite bottom. That's what he calls him. That's
right.
what the students call him.
Very interesting. Okay. Any gray areas in the book that tugged at your heartstrings or made you question right and wrong?
Hi. So Choreo, I call him Choreo because
His name is obnoxious.
it's so long. Him hunting Lucy Gray in the final chapter was just so visceral.
And the switch happens so fast.
Yes. Well, that switch flips in his brain at what she is no longer a meal ticket.
Yeah.
She is no longer useful to him. And he
Right.
goes, yeah, she's got to die.
Within
but
a couple of pages.
it was so visceral, and I really, you feel, and I think part of it was listening to it, but you really feel the tension and the fear that she must have been feeling in that moment, even though we only get it through his point of view.
Yeah.
But because it literally, like, my heart rate, like, started up
Same.
of, like, listening to him talk about, like, okay, I see her footprints.
Yeah.
Okay, like, oh, I hear her rustle. She probably did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Let me shoot into the, like, void and maybe hit her. And the fact that, like,
an hour ago he was running away with her because he loved her.
yeah, loves her so much, has known her like a month.
Is he just a sociopath?
Well,
I think he might just be a sociopath.
But, sorry, go ahead. Or were you going to say something? No.
I can say something,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I didn't want to like change your
No, you're okay.
Trajectory.
I felt like
Yeah.
kind of where I was leading up with the last question of like I didn't necessarily have a gray area of something, but I felt like what tugged on my heartstrings was, and what I felt like he was struggling with was that he has to align himself more out of fear, I think,
Mhm.
with whoever is going to be the strongest in the room so he
Mhm.
can use that to his advantage and
Yeah.
then become stronger
Yeah.
than him. And so it's like, and I think that is something that a lot of people end up doing and is actually easier
Mm-hmm.
than we care to admit of,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to stay quiet because I don't want to die. I'm going to sell out my friends.
Yeah.
How he does.
Sejanus.
Yeah, he
Oh.
does him
So
dirty.
bad.
And
I cried.
Mm.
and he just does it without
Just fully
a
cried.
second thought. It's just like, this is going to save me in the long
Yeah.
run. So if I have to
Yeah.
basically offer you up as a sacrifice,
Then I'll do it.
then I'll do what I have to do to survive.
And the fact that, like, his whole thought process after
Mm-hmm.
he gets Sejanus killed, like, he gets him hung, his only thought process was how that was going to affect him.
I know.
Yeah.
And how, oh the disgusting, like, getting close with his family after.
Dude.
Basically
like,
replacing him.
Yes.
Yeah.
The fact that they bought the apartment and
No
bought
remorse.
the apartment below with plans to build a stairwell so that they could be more connected to each other.
Gross.
And his parents, his poor mother, like the mom,
I know.
who I just loved, like
The baker.
Yeah.
What made me sad about this book, and maybe because our society is mirroring this a lot more lately, why is he so quick to support and change his life for the betterment of this tyrannical government instead of jumping, like having the same jumping mode of choices for the opposite, like for not for the revolution, but just for the betterment of all people instead of himself? Like, was he created that way because of this government and because of the way the capital was controlled, or was he always that kind of person? I still don't know. I wish there was a piece of me that wanted Suzanne Collins to do a prequel to the prequel, because I want
like the war,
but also not even the beginnings of the war. I want to know more about how the capital was before that and why the capital turned all of these people against an entire country.
Why did they rebel?
Exactly.
Why did the rebellion start in the first place?
Well, and then what freaks me out about reading books like this or watching movies like The Hunger Games is the closeness and closeness and closeness of what our society looks like today. Because who are you in this book when the revolution happens, because there absolutely will be one in the next 5 years of the 1% going against everyone else? Where do we fall in this game, and how close will you be in relation to the revolution, and what will we all choose to do and talk about when that happens? Like, will we all choose to put our head in the sand and just go about our daily business and daily work like the districts? Or will we stand up on social media or whatever and say, no, this is not right. This is gross. And we could have something better. I don't know. Lots of gray area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard to say, I'll do this until you're like truly put in the situation.
Exactly.
And seeing, how do I buckle under pressure?
Right.
Or
And that's why I want to hear her version of that beginning, because I want to see how close it is to our reality and what we could potentially change now in order to not get to that point. I know it's fiction, but these revolutions have happened in our own country's history. So, and we're bound to repeat that history when we still haven't changed the main makeup, which is white men, straight white men are the rulers of all of these rules and the makers of all these laws, but they make them for themselves. When do we get to make them for ourselves?
Speaking of straight people.
Yes.
Or the lack thereof. I love that she just throws in, at one point, no other comment is made, just throws in that one of the Bairds goes to see the woman she's seeing. But they make no other comment on it. They just say, "Oh, she went to go see the girl she's seeing in town," or something like that. Yeah. The oldest of Lucy's like family.
Yes.
She just like, it just is said and then moved on. Yeah. Like no one comments on it. Like,
hello.
It's just a part of life.
But
which I love.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like just this random sentence said and then never
like
addressed
you're not really
again.
Expecting it.
Yeah.
And then
that's funny. On that note, though, of Suzanne Collins, damn, can this woman write?
Kiss her on the mouth.
So
good.
With consent. She's an incredible world builder and storyteller. The Katniss plant. So good. And the him getting so mad at the Mockingjays. And I'm like, yes, so good.
So good.
I loved it. That's why it made me want to watch the Hunger Games movies again, because I wanted to be able to.
Because now you get it. Now you get why he hates her.
Yeah.
So
much.
Because she reminds him of everything terrible about himself.
Exactly.
And all the disgusting things he's done.
Right.
And reminds him of the time where like he had so much opportunity to change the future.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now he's watching it all fall apart because of a girl.
Yeah.
Oh, and to think that
A girl in a dress.
to think that she wrote this book, the prequel, after she wrote The Hunger Games.
Yeah.
And yet I can watch The Hunger Games and still see the makeup of Songbirds and Snakes and see him hating Katniss so much because of the background.
Because I think without this book, you may just see him as being this hateful, tyrannical person.
Right.
But with the book, like, you see those little glimpses in his face, rewatching the originals and being like, oh, he hates her.
Yeah. Yes.
He doesn't hate
get-go.
the rebellion. He doesn't hate any of it. He hates her and what she represents.
And she's from 12.
The
connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good.
Amazing. Okay.
My answer for number 3.
Without spoiling too much, what did you think about where we leave young Snow at the end? Did it change how you feel about him later on, for better or for worse? Halsey?
You can't read this. Mine just says Choreo Snow, little bitch.
He's a military propaganda tool. That I hated him more by the end of Songbirds and Snakes. I had no love, acceptance, or pity for him.
My pity for him was done probably after chapter 5. Like once the games really got going.
Yeah.
Yeah. He made me so angry.
When he has to go into the military school, that's when I said, okay, I'm done. Because the fact that you just went through all of that and your go-to mode is to say, yes, sir, I will absolutely sign up for a life of military work for the next 20 years, even though I just went through all of that, killed someone, fell in love with someone that I should have never fallen in love with, and now my family is falling apart. He said, yep, I'll take that, because he's a coward.
And
I think
it's
that's
an opportunity.
It's an opportunity to stay alive, because he's too much of a coward to go against the grain, right? Yeah. That's why he hates Sejanus. Honestly, I think he really does hate him. I don't think he was ever a good friend or loved him in any way.
The way he talks about him is awful.
Oh, he's so condescending.
Condescending. Every time he talks about him, he's like, this little just needs to shut up and stop messing up things for me and making me have to quote unquote rescue him.
But also Sejanus isn't succumbing to this military power and seeing it as God and as your life source. So because he's not doing that and doing the same as me, he's an outcast, cannot be bothered, get away from me. Yeah. Or I'll just kill you.
And he's willing to stand up for his beliefs and say something's not right and I want to fix it.
Yeah.
And try to do what I can to make a difference. Yeah. And instead he just gets
killed for it. Awesome.
And granted, like, he was idealistic.
Yeah.
He never had a good plan. He had ideals that he wanted to be able to hold up to and couldn't.
Right.
And often went about it in the wrong way. Like, there's ways he could have done things better or done things and actually had, put in, I don't know, actual change. But
yeah. I'm going to skip one question because we did answer.
Wait, I had one little thought about question 4.
Okay.
Sorry.
The question 4 was, with the world's eyes on the situation in Gaza, it's like we're seeing the Capitol's control in real life. Do you think Suzanne Collins intended for us to draw these parallels, or is it just life imitating art?
So this book actually came out in May of 2020.
Right.
So I think if anything, it's more of a commentary on humanity in general.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, if it came out in May, she wrote it before the pandemic had even started. Because
no, it was in full-fledged. March, April, May was the beginning of the pandemic.
No, I know, but the book was published in May.
Oh, yes. Okay, I see what you're saying.
So she wrote it before the pandemic started, or at least started writing it before the pandemic started. Yeah. So I think if anything, it's more of a commentary on humanity in general and what humans are capable of, both good and bad.
Yeah.
Which has always been the commentary of the previous books, too.
Exactly.
It's what humanity can be brought to.
Is capable of.
Yeah.
or potential.
Mhm.
There's a conspiracy theory in me that says they pushed up the publishing date to come out during the pandemic because she knew that it would resonate more. Because
Yeah, maybe.
publishing dates can be pushed up or back.
Yeah.
And I think that having a book like that come out in May of 2020, just a little suspect to me.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
All sus.
Did you have
any
anything for question 4, Cal?
I said I felt like it was more like life imitating art.
Yeah.
I didn't know really when it came out in
Mhm.
relation to the world
Yeah.
today, but
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, power hungry people are gonna do whatever it'll take to get what
Mhm.
they want,
Yeah.
and ultimately they want control. So by any means necessary, maybe not saying they read this book and they're like, I'm gonna do this, this, and this, but like
Yeah.
to some degree, what is around us is going to have influence on how
Mhm.
we approach certain scenarios. So I
Right.
think that
Mhm.
it could be a little bit of
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
For me, I mean,
I don't
we
know.
haven't really talked about this public facing. We've talked about it on our Patreon shows about politics and world events
Mhm.
and what's happening in Gaza right now still. Um, we've never had access to this kind of footage and content in our lifetimes
Mhm.
and in the lifetime of our country, of America. And the fact that we are seeing a live stream genocide
Mhm.
would have been unheard of in
Mhm.
any other time period of life.
Mhm.
But now we have these emotional connections to Palestinians who are going through this
Mhm.
and getting a live look at how history is being made. I couldn't help but see
Yeah.
this odd and disturbing connection of we do have access to these people that we've
Mhm.
never had before
Mhm.
because technology is now caught up to that
Mhm.
process. And TikTok is what it is today. Like it is there is a revolution happening on that app right now. And it is wild to
Mhm.
watch and kind of be a part of. Like I love being a part of that conversation of us kind of being awakened to
Mhm.
the powers that be are
Mhm.
only in it for themselves. They're all Coriolanus snows.
Mhm.
And we are all the districts. And that
Yeah.
line has definitely been drawn. Now, over the next 5 years, it will be interesting to see how the pieces fall.
Mhm.
The Hunger Games are the ultimate reality show in Pan Am. With the live streaming of conflicts today, do you feel like we're crossing into similar territory where the lines blur between entertainment and horror? I just said that.
Yeah.
But I also made a note about Squid Games.
Yeah, which because you mentioned that,
Yeah.
I like used it as my reference too. It's
Yeah.
like Squid Games, the scripted show.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Totally. I haven't
Mhm.
watched it, but yes.
Mhm.
I said it's beautiful and gut wrenching. Like
Mm.
but when I saw that the reality
Mhm.
Have you
show-
watched it, by the way?
No.
Oh my God.
I
Okay.
refuse.
But when I first saw it, I was like, what?
What? Yeah.
Because in the back of my mind, I was like,
That's
I
disgusting.
know how the show goes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's just one step closer. And
Yeah.
when that show was, the reality version of it was being aired, it scared me, honestly.
Same.
Because what someone will do for the sake of money
Mhm.
is terrifying.
Especially in the pits of debt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I watched the reality
Mhm.
show and I've not watched the scripted show. So I had a very interesting experience watching whatever the hell that was because they put these little poppers in their uniforms to do a death scene, like when they are
Gross.
Yeah, they pop off and this black goo goes all over them. And then I don't know if producers told them to do this or this was just the tribal mentality that was happening in this freaking game, but they pretended to die every time the popper went off. Yeah.
Gross.
These you and me type people had this thought process that, oh, we're in the show and this is death and I just died. And they would fall over and pretend to be dead. Every
I don't like that.
I
single
hate it.
time.
But
It was wild.
Yeah. I also just think it's taking that next step to make it seem normal.
Yes.
And so it's only a matter of time before we say, well, why not?
Why
You
not?
know?
What's next?
Someone will watch it. Someone will enjoy it.
But we all watched it because it also came out right before the holidays. So it
Yeah.
was something to kind of binge while you had time off. Gross, dude.
All I really had to say was
about the last question.
Was that I think we would get closer to that place if and when government media became mandatory viewing, which is where they get to at the end of the book, is him pitching the like
projectors in every home.
Well, not just the projectors, but him saying like, and he says it early on in the book too, like in his head. He's like, they don't have to watch this in the district, so it's really not giving the effect you're wanting it to have. Mm-hmm. You gotta force them to watch it. They're only watching the hangings or the reapings. So you're not really getting
the full message across.
The full message. Really only the Capitol is getting the full message. So and it's not Capitol kids dying.
No. And then at the end of the book, he made it more about, okay, well, now we need to give the winning districts something to fight for and something to root for, which was food and supplies after their tribute won.
And the tribute or the victors
village. Victors village. Yeah. Have something to
incentivize.
Which in 12 were just houses that sat empty except for Hamish.
Yeah. For decades and decades. Yes. Crazy. Well, thanks for your book club thoughts. That was a super fun conversation. Kind of.
Hit me up on Instagram because I got more thoughts.
Do we have a next book yet?
We do not.
We need a January, February book, which I love. We're kind of trying to split the books into both months to give us a little bit more time to read, but also give you more time.
I was listening to that thing at 1.7 speed to get it listened to by the end of this last week.
I love it.
So that we could talk about it. Let's talk about you.
Our pin conversation and pillar thread that we wanted to talk about today was friendships.
Friends.
And
as friends, I
definitely have friends. Friends, friendly friends. Time to meet my friends. I'm Patty. Paula.
It's from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
I was like, what is happening?
Again, and you really gotta watch the show.
We're really obsessed with show.
Girl with port wine.
With port wine stain. Okay. Sorry.
Guy with half an island. Sorry. Okay, I'm done.
Let's
Focus.
I took my Adderall.
Is it working?
I did. It was working during book club.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Okay. As usual, when we talk about a new pin thread pillar situation, we bounce it back to the beginnings of our lives because season 1 is all about ages 0 through 13 for the most part. This one's a little hard for Kelly because she kind of blacked out some parts of her childhood.
I was like, ages 0 to 13. Don't remember a lot.
Didn't we all?
So fun.
I feel like all of us have very unique friendship stories too, in the way that we have found our friends, kept our friends, or made new friends in our adulthood. My first question though is, let's kick it way back. What's your very first memory of making a friend? Was it sharing a toy or maybe a secret handshake? Or was it a not a real person friend? An imaginary friend. It can totally be an imaginary friend. Did you have an imaginary friend?
I don't think have so. Those.
No. Did you?
Yep.
Is that a yep or a nope?
Yep.
Oh,
I
thought you said nope.
I said nope.
I was like,
I did not have imaginary friends.
I did.
What was your imaginary friend's name?
Bob.
Oh.
Bob.
Was he the tomato?
He might have been the tomato, if I'm being really honest. I think he was a humanoid concept of Bob the Tomato. If you don't know what I'm talking about, VeggieTales.
I had a VeggieTales Bob the Tomato shirt.
And it was just red with his face. Yes.
And I would wear it to church all the time. So people would call me Kelly Bob.
Cute. I sold many of those t-shirts when I was working at Family Christian Bookstore.
We loved a VeggieTale shirt.
Absolutely.
Loved a VeggieTale.
Yeah.
Bob. I don't think he was really a imaginary friend. I think he was just a trauma-induced I don't know,
coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Something to talk to.
Comfort, in my brain. And he wasn't there for many years. Only like 5. Halsey's like, that's a handful of years.
Yeah, that's a good chunk of time.
I remember during this age feeling as if I could make a friend anywhere with anybody. But I think it was because, and we've talked about this in the past in the religion episode, I was a pastor's kid. So I was the kid that was made to be friends with everybody and be the resource and community, like open-armed person, no matter what. And 0-13 was when our parents were children's pastors. So I was constantly either with kids, watching kids, or being in some vacation Bible school or some kid-related activity. So it was easy for me to find my people and make friends through this time period. But my first friend that I made was Heather. My best friend. I have the rare blessing and experience to have a best friend my whole life. And she has seen me in every season of my life, and it's very grounding. I just got to hang out with her a couple nights ago, and she's pregnant, and it's just so weird to see your friend age and like experience new things, but it brings me right back to playing Barbies with her and just connecting on a very human
How did you
level.
guys even meet?
We met because of our moms. They met in like a church situation before we were born. So they had already known each other and knew about each other.
Because they didn't go to First Church.
They didn't. No, they didn't. But they were in, I think the first church, Bethany Bible. They were connected in there and knew the same people.
Went there for a little bit.
Yeah, I think everyone kind of went to Bethany Bible at some point. It's a big church.
It is. It's large.
But Heather and I always say, well, we met when we were 8, because I think cognitively that was when we could actually have memories and recognize that we were around each other more and more. But we have always known each other since we were born because our moms knew each other, and we had play dates or we were in the same church functions together since birth.
Like homeschool stuff.
Yeah. So at 8, we started homeschool co-oping together and did the same home group together. So Heather and I have this very distinct memory of going to the same co-op start day, and we were both wearing overalls, and she came out I was sitting on the patio, and she came out to the patio, and her mom brought her, and she said, do you remember Bailey? This is Bailey. I think you guys are going to be great friends. And she looked at me, and I looked at her, and she had this cute little bob and cute little bangs, and I was like, and I gave her a hug, and then we went and played with Barbies probably. And that was the end. Like, I love that I've known her that long. It's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
And we have been together many seasons of life. We've gotten to live together. We've worked together in weird ways and homeschooled together in each other's weddings. And now all the babies. Yeah. Not my babies.
Her babies.
Her babies.
Oh.
I love it. First friends stories. Do we remember?
My first friends, I also have somewhat of a similar treat as you of having a childhood best friend, Kelsey.
Yeah.
We went to church
Kelsey.
together.
Yeah.
And so we say we've known each other since we were little babies.
Love.
We call each other our RGF, our really good friends. And because it had to be different than best friends.
Yeah.
So we
cute.
made bracelets and we made everything.
Cute.
We didn't live exactly super, super close together, so I didn't get to see her all the time, but I saw her at church, I saw her at camp. Yeah. And I would go over and play at her house and stuff. She was my first sleepover, too.
Same, with Heather.
I got very scared on my first sleepover, and I went to her mom and said, I need to go home. Yeah. And so her mom called my parents, and they came and picked me up, and Kelsey was asleep the whole time and had no idea until the next. She was also a very hard sleeper. I love it. So
good for you, Kels.
So she slept through it, and she woke up the next morning and was like, where did she go?
I guess friends disappear in the middle of the night.
But I got to be her friend, and we've also walked through a lot of life together from a distance, though, but like keeping each other close and keeping each other in mind as we're going through stuff. And
do you feel like Kelsey is that RGF? Is that what you called her? RBF?
No, RGF.
RGF. That you can be away from each other for years, but the second that you're together, you just pick right back up.
Yeah.
Like nothing has changed.
Yeah.
I love that. That's the way Heather is too.
So yeah, no matter how much time and space we get together and even distance, she moved. This was past the time frame that we're talking about today, but she moved to Utah in high school. I think like freshman, I don't know, junior year maybe.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. But we had a notebook that we would write to each other. I still have it. It's in my keepsake box. And we would like cut out magazine words and stuff and do like little collages. And we'd say like, this is what's going on in my life. And then we'd like, I made this little picture for you. And then we'd mail this notebook back and forth to each other. So it has our old addresses written in the front. So we always could remember.
Like Sisterhood of the Traveling Journal.
Notebook. Yeah. That's so cute.
It's zebra print.
Oh, we love
I'll have to find it. It's really funny.
So early 2000s. Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
Delish. My friend Rachel, who's another lifelong friend, we've known each other since we were born. We used to do pen pal because we moved, she moved on to the opposite side of Phoenix when we were, I think, a junior high. And it was devastating that we were so far away from each other because she was in North Phoenix. I mean, come on. So we became pen pals, and both of us still have letters from each other when we were in grade school that we've saved. I love that. First friends?
So I have like two separate ones that are like the most embedded. Tara and Coral.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Who we went to First Church with.
Yep.
A lot of time at Tara's house.
Because they had
the best house.
A rockin' house. Their family moved to Litchfield when it first became built. Yeah. And it was the neighborhood to be in. We're talking massive homes. But they have a family of 7 children. Was that 7 or 6? All
5.
Starting with T.
5.
Every single one.
Yeah.
And they had this
But they were just super fun.
They were so fun. They had a massive game room and their backyard was dope.
And like her brothers would play with us. And like, so they had the oldest boy who he was like a teenager. He was like their like much older sibling.
Yeah.
And then her next, and then Taylor and then Tara. And then there's 2 boys, or Taylor and then there's 2 boys and then Tara.
Yeah. Huge family.
But Tara and I were the exact same age. And then we had another friend named Coral. And we were, I mean, for a while, there was like a good period of time where we were like inseparable, the 3 of us.
Yeah.
And
well, and also during that time period, Tara's older sister and I were very close
good
as
friends.
well. So we would have like joint play dates, joint sleepovers. Like, so fun.
That's the first house I really remember sleeping over at.
Yeah.
We would stay up until like 4 o'clock in the morning. Like that, there was just no bedtimes.
No. Yeah. Which was delightful.
And I just have all these like, so right outside of their parents' bedroom, they had this landing, and that's where we would set up like the Barbie village. And it was just
a village.
Like it was just so great because we would all bring all of our dolls. So it'll be all of our Polly Pockets and all of our Barbies and everything. And everyone would bring, like, if you had a car, bring it with you. Whatever you had. And then we would build, like, it was one of those things where, like, it takes more time to set it all up than you actually spend playing with it. But that's the best part.
Yes.
And to be like, okay, this is going to be your little house in the neighborhood and this will be yours. And, like, those are the deep memories. We were all Polly Pocket girls. Like, we were the bigger ones with the rubber clothes because that's their Polly Pockets.
Some downstairs.
Not the OG.
I also have a bucket of them. Oh, there's a specific scarf that if I could chew on that thing one more time... Do you know which one I'm talking about? The pink fluffy scarf?
I'll find it for you.
Thank you. Listen.
The amount of times I would walk into Halsey's in my bedroom and she'd be eating Polly Pocket clothes are not one time. You know what I'm saying?
They were just, listen, I had an oral fixation.
I probably chewed on my fair share of Polly Pocket.
I did not do this.
And they squeaked just right in your molars. Anyways, so yeah, Tara and Coral and I and
so fun.
We just
it was so innocent.
It was so innocent. We loved Amanda Bynes movies.
Oh yeah,
we would watch
tons of Nickelodeon and Disney.
A lot of Nickelodeon. They had cable when we usually didn't, and so yeah, and we all homeschooled. We were all homeschool kids. So,
Yep.
yeah, it was just, I don't know. So, like, yeah, innocent and sweet. And we all grew apart. Like, I started going to public school, and
Yeah.
we then left that church. And so
Yep.
I didn't really, like, see them much throughout the rest of our childhoods. But we all are, you know, some friends on Facebook and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And then I have Crystal, obviously.
Yeah.
We've known each other since we were 5 and 6 years old.
Yeah.
We, you know, we have our ebbs and flows of seasons, but
All friendships do.
yeah.
And I think that, yeah, especially like for the childhood friendships, as you get older and you kind of find who you are more of a more as a person, and geographically you end up
we
in
kept
very
leaving
different
the country at
places.
different
Like,
times.
It's hard to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
super
her and I have
close
moved out of the
friends.
country multiple times at
Yeah.
different times, and
Yeah.
but
I do.
Yeah.
I love that conversation of as you become more of a human, how do your friendships also mold around you? Because Heather and I we're pretty different people. We have lots of similarities in likes and dislikes that are the same, but she was raised much more a legalistic Christian than I was, and that will mold you and change you in different ways. But what I've loved about our friendship and our maturity in friendship is that we've been able to still have love for each other, still listen to each other's opinions and thought processes about what is going on in the world or how our opinions are changing, and still give space to each other, even though we might not think the same things, you know, and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My only other little childhood friend was Trevor. And
our neighbor boy.
He lived across the street, and we went to the same elementary school.
Yeah.
And he was my little 4th grade boyfriend.
Yes.
And
so cute.
So cute.
Looking at your childhood self, what would you say about how you chose your friends? Was there a pattern, or were you friends with everyone? Were you friends with the same type of person growing up?
I don't know. I think I was kind of friends with everyone.
Yeah.
But I think also because I kind of had to be.
Yes.
With camp also, I think part of me making friends was not to get too attached, but to do something and be the yes girl a little bit, as like my little 8-year-old self of, I got to make this week memorable, so you come back next year and we're still friends.
Oh, I
love it, but that's also so sad.
So sad. But like, but don't get too
Yeah.
attached. But like, you're gonna want to come back and you're gonna want to be friends with me, hopefully.
That's such a like
Fingers
survivalist
crossed.
mode. I had the same mentality though
Yeah.
for Vacation Bible School, because my mom was the director. We would have so many summer church kids come in where they only come because their parents need them to go somewhere during the day.
Childcare.
Yeah, child's
free.
care.
Yeah.
Free 99.
Yeah. Well, and like we would have families come work for the week,
Right.
And they'd bring their kids just to be staff family and just hang out. And I got to run the world in that little time, but so I just wanted to try to be friends because it would be a new person to kind of.
Especially as
hold
a
my
youngest
attention.
sibling, it's the one time that you get to be
the power.
the big kahuna.
Yeah.
Like,
The
you get to-
ringleader.
Yeah.
That or making friends with the older staff.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
just being friends with the 16, 17, 18-year-olds as
Yes.
a
Which was
10-year-old.
also my experience of Bailey having friends.
Older friends.
Yeah.
Mine was different. I was always the ringleader in this age range, because I think that was the only role that I could assume. I was the oldest sister, therefore I would be the older sister for everyone else and kind of have my crew. But same thing, try to be friends with everybody. I do feel like I found my core crew of friends, and we all had very similar backgrounds or similar likes and dislikes at that age. And they were always homeschool kids for the most part.
Yeah.
Gotta stick together.
So I wrote that I wasn't picky.
We'll take anyone.
And this is kind of continued. Like I wanted to choose people who weren't often chosen. Some kids bring home stray animals. I brought home lost children. I brought home the kids that like
Needed something.
nobody else wanted.
Aww.
Which sounds terrible. Like to my friends, I don't feel that way about you. I don't think nobody wants you, but like I felt that way. I mean, Bailey can contest that there were many times, especially like third through 6th grade, where I would just come home crying because I just felt like I had no friends and nobody, and that I was just completely alone.
Well, and then she had 2 older siblings who clearly did have established community, and that we had found our people at our ages. So she was trying to put herself to that standard of like, well, if Jansen and Bailey have found their people, where are my people?
Yeah.
Not realizing we're 7 years ahead of you, having made that community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that too, because I mean, both my siblings had large friend groups that always came to our house, called my parents mom and dad.
Aww.
Like, were very
involved
in each other's lives, and I don't think I really had that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, I
didn't let myself
especially
have
like
that.
I think it probably expanded quite a bit once I got into high school. But yeah, I always had the friends who either like home life wasn't great or whatever, for whatever reason. We bonded.
I mean, you're an empath, so you can not seek those people out, but they kind of just bubble up to the surface, and they have an aura to them. You know what I'm saying?
And I just see them. Yeah, like I just always, I don't know. I wanted to be the friend of the friendless. I wanted those people to know that like they had a person who knew that they existed.
I did that more in high school, I think. I tried to find the outsider. I had this friend named Stephanie in high school who she was just different than everybody else. She was a little quirky, a little kooky, but I loved her. I thought she was so fun and so talented. She was a cartoonist, and she's like become an artist, like a graphic designer now, which I love. But she was shunned a lot during high school, and I was always the friend to her that no one else wanted to be, and I'm proud of that. But I didn't really experience that until I got out of the Christian community, like the hardcore Christian community, and started seeing new kinds of people.
Yeah. Well, especially in high school, my freshman year, a senior took his own life. In my high school.
Yeah.
And I think that it affected our whole school.
Yeah.
But for me, it affected me in the way of like, okay, if he felt alone or unknown, I don't want anyone to ever feel that way. Like, who else feels that way? Let me find those people.
Yeah.
Because I also was experiencing that and experiencing, suicidal ideation and those kind of things. But I just was so like heartbroken that someone near
and in your age range could get to that point. Yeah. It's shocking.
One, his younger sister ended up being a freshman a few years later, and so we all knew her, and so hard. That was
Did your parents have a say in who you hung out with as a kid? How did their influence shape your early friendships? Kelly, you said you kind of had a hard time with this one.
I honestly don't remember my parents saying you can't hang out with this person or you can't hang out with that person.
So
does that surprise you?
No, it doesn't surprise me at all, because your parents are lovers and community oriented people, and definitely people who are accepting of a lot of hard things because of what they've gone through as parents. Yeah. What's weird to me looking back, because as we've been saying, a lot of old memories are coming to the surface. I had a lot of moments in my early childhood where my parents told me not to be friends with someone.
Really?
I have these distinct, especially when I started going to school for the first time, grade school. There was this boy in grade school who was ostracized in our class because he was just a little different. Yeah. And he was probably on the autism spectrum, and he was very cerebral, and he was very smart. And I was just always interested in him and interested in his thoughts, even from a young age. But he was the weird kid in our classes. And I have these distinct memories because my parents were very involved in the school activities and being a part of the PTA and stuff like that, and being around us in our classrooms, because my mom was still a stay-at-home mom at that age. So she got to be part of our classrooms a lot. I have these distinct memories of both of my parents sitting me down saying that I couldn't be friends with him and that I needed to distance myself from him because he's just not someone we want you to be friends with, because they thought he was weird. I swear to you, it's the strangest thing. And that happened a couple of times. In junior high, it happened when I went back into co-op and into homeschooling. And it happened one other time, not that boy, but another kiddo that was just a little off, a little quirky and weird.
Yeah.
And I just think that they rubbed them the wrong way. But now as an adult looking back, it was more about, I think, they wanted me to be associated with people that would, I don't know, increase our stature in this community, and that I wouldn't be known for being friends with that person. I would be known for being friends with like the popular crew or the more established crew. I don't know. It was very strange. But I also think my parents had always thought that we would be homeschooled. So when they didn't have control over everyone that was around us, I think it just freaked them out that now I have control of who's around me instead.
Yeah. Well, because like my parents went back to camp full time when I was 9.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as demanding as I've said this before. It wasn't as crazy of a schedule then as it is now, but it took a lot of our time. And even before they were back officially full time, we still spent a lot of time there.
Yeah.
And then we moved when I was going into 6th grade. So around like 11, 12, however old you are at that point in your life. But so I had to start over with making friends, and it was like, okay,
from scratch
with a group of people that have all been together their entire life.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't love being the new kid.
So yeah,
not my fave. Did you have an answer to this one? Are you good?
I not so much that mom and dad ever really told me I couldn't be friends with someone. Their mom's got that Scorpio mind where she just knows things. And so there were a few friendships where she would kind of like warn me of like, hey, like
she could see
the writing on the wall of like, I don't think this is like a good friendship for you.
Yeah.
I had a lot of experiences, and even in the last few years, I've continued to have these experiences of people thinking they can walk all over me or mold me or treat me like crap, and that I'll just be okay with it.
Yeah.
And when I was younger, because I was so desperate for friendship and to be a part of something, I was a lot more likely to just
whoever
go along with it,
you
know? And yeah, so like the last one that really sticks out the most was this girl I was friends with my freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
Who she actually ended up leaving her school after that year anyway, so it was like beside the point.
Yeah.
But for most of freshman year, I almost felt like I was in trouble for being her friend. Because
I do remember the conversation.
I mean, she wasn't a great influence.
No.
I'll be real. But I don't know. I just think I also just need to like figure that out for myself.
But also back then, what was a bad influence in our parents' eyes? Someone that was secular, that wasn't part of a church. The second that they found out that the family wasn't religious, it became questionable to have this person around. Even though, are we supposed to love everybody and be accepting of everybody and have speak light into the darkness?
Yeah.
How does that happen if you're not friends with everybody? Don't know.
Yeah.
Thanks for answering your friendship questions. Did you have anything else?
Well, you had the question about friendship breakups, but
I kind of want to save that one because I have more friendship breakups in high school. And I feel like friendship breakups when you're 0 to 13 are because someone wore limited to today and we were supposed to wear.
Listen, I have a specific one.
Oh, you do?
From that age.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, tell the story.
Listen, it was also probably a little fueled by just being gay.
Love it.
Love it. Because that's That's a very common experience in queer women is heartbreaking friendship breakups.
Yeah.
Because you were probably a little bit in love with your friend.
Yeah.
But this one specifically, I evidently did something that made this girl mad. And to make it up to her, needed to, like, this little sociopath. I remember her entire full name. I'm never going to say it. Okay, but if I ever saw her in public, it'd be on site.
Oh,
God. To make it up to her, I had to give her my, like, most prized possession, stuffed animal. Which, granted, was a kid who did not have a lot of them. Like, I had very few. Oh. And so there is one of my, like, I can remember exactly what this little stuffed dog looked like. Oh, no. Not Puppy. Puppy stayed with me for, like, my entire life until I accidentally left him at a different ex-best friend's house.
Dang it.
And she refuses to admit that I left him at her house in high school.
Oh, my Lord. Still bitter.
Bitter. Anyways.
Deep-seated.
Sorry, we're over again. But yeah, so she,
that's messed up.
To this day, that's my stuffed dog.
Little girls, man.
Unless she gave it away to Goodwill.
Lethal. Or she burned it.
It's on site.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Hey.
Anyways.
Thanks for hanging out for episode 15 of
16. This is
episode
16.
It is. Sweet 16. Hi, guys. I'm trying.
This podcast can drive.
Yay!
Have fun.
Now that you've watched the show, please subscribe if you haven't already, and rate and review this on all podcast platforms or whichever platform of your choosing. Please comment down below if you're on the YouTubes and tell us about your first friendship.
Yeah.
Are they still your friend?
Which Polly Pocket item of clothing did you like to chew on?
Oh, dear God.
No.
Actually, I do kind of want to.
And why was it the pink scarf?
Or there's that one shirt. There's a yellow and pink shirt.
Get it.
Of course, because I would walk in on you chewing things all the time. I'm like, well, I got to try it.
It's the sound of the rubber against your teeth.
Little squeaks. Delicious.
On that note, sister by contract.
Yes.
Miss Kelly.
Thank you.
Love you. Thank you for coming and preparing your friendship stories.
Mm-hmm.
Sister by blood. Love you. Thank you for coming.
Hi, Halsey.
She Halsey. And I'm Bailey. This is Blood and Contracts. Thanks for watching and listening. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye, guys.